Call to order March 22nd, 21, Austintown Township Trustee meeting. Can you please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to appoint Michael Dockery, fiscal officer, pro them in the absence of Laura Wolf.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Roll call.
Mr. Grano?
Here.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Well, Michael Dockery, you got three under you. We're gonna do a township administrator, road superintendent, and now fiscal officer. We have Darren Cavelli, our zoning inspector, Chief Bob Gavalier, our police chief, Chief Andy Frost III is not here tonight. He's at another meeting. Todd Schaefer,
Here.
oh, you made it? There. Todd Schaefer, our park supervisor. Jim Henshaw is our senior center director. Mike? Motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 8th, 2021.
So moved. And seconded?
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Grano?
Yes.
Blake, you want to come up?
Yes, sir.
I
I, Blake Davis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of patrol officer
the duties of patrol officer
of the Austintown Township
of the Austintown Township
and of the Austintown Township Police District
of the Austintown Township Police District
in Austintown Township, Mahoning County, State of Ohio,
in Austintown Township, in Ohio,
during my continuance in office.
during my continuance in office.
I
Blake Davis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of constable
the duties of constable
of the Austintown Township
of the Austintown Township
and of the Austintown Township Police District
and of the Austintown Township Police District
in Austintown Township, Mahoning County, State of Ohio,
and Austintown Township, Mahoning County, State of Ohio,
during my continuance in office.
during my continuance in office.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Chief?
It's what first of all, thank Valerie and Sergeant Trilla for all work they do with the background checks on applicants and that. There's a group of us that question the ones that they process, but Valerie and Sergeant Trilla actually have the more contact with the individuals, and we depend a lot on them on giving us information and that. Blake is from Warren, I don't know if it's Warren Harding or Western Reserve, but he's from, graduated YSU Police Academy, I believe still in Air Force Reserves. We crossed back paths with Blake a while back and decided to go in a different direction for career-wise, and we moved on. Fortunately, we talked to Valerie or Lieutenant Schuyler and said, you know, reach back out to Blake to see where he's at. And fortunate at the time that he decided to end his career where he's at and wanted to get back in law enforcement. So we're fortunate to hook up with him and hire him back here again. So I want to welcome the family and congratulations.
Appreciate it. Blake, you want to introduce your family to us?
Yes, sir. So this is my stepfather, Steve, my sister's Piper, my mother Rachel, my brother Connor, my grandmother Kay, and my girlfriend Gabrielle.
Welcome. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so now that we're on camera, I will say this for the record.
He's
Okay?
all worried.
And listen, what is scary, what is even more scary with me saying this is that I am at the age that now that I can say this. He did not get hired because he's my son. Okay? The last name Davis, there's no relation. He got this job on his own, so
Thank you.
congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
All right, back to order. Mr. Dockery, anything? Administrator report?
No, I have nothing to report.
All right, we got a couple things to award. Road Department and Cemetery, motion to award the 2021 road resurfacing bid to Lindy Paving Incorporated as the best and the lowest bid. Pavement planing of $1.45 per yard, track coat $2.75 a gallon, and asphalt $148.25 cubic yard. Motion.
So moved. And seconded.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Crano?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes. Motion to authorize participation in ODOT winter contract 21-22 for road salt, 3,000 ton.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Crano?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Okay. Chief?
The only thing I have to add is, Friday was Keith Smith's last day actually working. He's on a couple vacation days. He's retiring at the end of this month. He's been with us for 30 years. Firearms instructor, very good firearms instructor. We're going to miss him. He's going to stay on as a reserve officer though, but I just want to congratulate him. Wish him good luck.
Great.
Absolutely.
Wish our best for him. Thank you. Mr. Frost? Sandy back here?
He is. Who's that? Right, Chief.
My grandma. Chief? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
Good.
How was the meeting?
Bizarre. That's good.
That's good. Anything?
I don't know if you want to discuss it.
Sure. So I knew that there was a need in front of our, more so in front of our fire station for a new pad. We looked at bids and we are anticipating about $120,000 total project that we had broken down into some different phases to see what we could replace. There's a huge sinkhole behind our fire station that needed repaired. And so there was some discussion as to some money that might still be left out of the county. So I contacted Commissioner Ditzler and asked him if there was some funding available for some projects, and he said that there was about $150,000 remaining. And so I got Andy on the phone with him, and Andy was able to provide information to the three commissioners. And we have informally been informed from Commissioner Ditzler that they've awarded us $50,000 towards the repair of our fire station parking lot. So that'll be a huge help.
Yeah, that's actually a tremendous help, more than they'll know, I think. But all three of you have been really receptive to all this, and I appreciate it. Jim, thanks for reaching out and getting it. So it's a big boost for us. But it's one of the things that our infrastructure is really need of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what really surprised me, initially when we were talking about it, I thought we just needed for a parking lot. And I said, 50,000, now we can do a lot of it. Then I realized it's concrete because of the heaviness of the equipment.
Yeah, that's been the problem. When it was put in, trucks were not nearly as heavy as they are now. We had 4 inches of concrete. Now it takes 8 inches reinforced. Basically highway specs is what we need. You know, with that big ladder, it's 90,000 pounds loaded.
So a lot of people, what people don't realize, and I try to reinforce to those people, because I've had people comment about how, the fire trucks, they don't seem like they're going that fast. And I go, we do realize those are full of water. They don't realize that they're coming fully loaded, not to mention the gear you have on and everything else.
Absolutely. Yeah, just an average engine is well over 20 pounds.
That's a tank moving.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So it's, they're heavy. They take a lot to stop. Just gotta be cognizant of that. But when that big aerial's out, it's set up on the front apron, it puts a lot of stress points on that concrete. So it's taking its toll.
The good news is too, is because we had this bid out for a while, we had talked and agreed as a board that this was important to be done. We're already on the schedule for the paving to be done as soon as, the plants are ready to go to get us the concrete. And make sure we do it in good weather because we want to make sure we get it done at the right time. So we're good to go as soon as everything breaks.
Township. Yeah, the drain is good.
Yeah, it's very fine, absolutely. That's the only thing I have.
All right.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Darren?
You're not gonna tell us it was spring ahead, fall back?
Oh, smoke detectors?
Yeah. I mean, that's like your normal routine.
Yeah, no, it is, you're right. Yeah, everybody's just using them for the remote controls anymore, so it's hard to use. I can't believe the amount of smoke detectors that are hanging because they ran out of batteries in the remote. So. But yeah, please, that's a great point, thank you. Replace the smoke detector batteries, that's for sure, at time changes. So thank you for reminding me.
So weird about that. Our phones and everything else changes on time.
Yeah.
Only thing I had to change was my microwave.
So what's funny is I went up yesterday and I have a digital readout on my thermostat. And I went, because I was doing, as he said, changing the clock on the microwave, and I looked at the thermostat and I'm like, oh, I don't even have to change it. I said, it's already changed back, it must have changed itself. Then it dawned on me, I never fell back to have to spring forward because we were closed when it was time to fall back. I'm like,
Yeah.
Then I felt stupid.
Mr. Cavelli?
Yes, I would ask the board to declare the following properties a nuisance under Ohio Revised Code 505.87, 4473 Berkey Road, furniture at the curb, 178 Idaho Road, a TV discarded by the detached garage, 161 North Edge Hill and 215 North Edge Hill, junk and debris, construction debris at the curbs, 233 North Edge Hill, furniture and a wealth of junk and debris in the driveway, the side of the house. 296 North Main Street, trash and boxes at the curb, and that's all I have for that.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Corino?
Yes.
And then I'd like to ask the board to declare the following motor vehicle a nuisance under ORC 505.871. New road, erected inoperable white vehicle with an expired temporary tag K92 1974, parked in an exposed manner at the south side of the parking lot at the Wedgewood condominiums. I don't have an address because I don't know who that vehicle belongs to. One of my goals will be to find out who it does belong to. But I plan on putting a letter on the windshield tomorrow. It's wrecked, it's on blocks, and it's been there at least a couple of weeks. And the people who live there don't know whose it is.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Corino?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Darren, I have a question for Darren, because I've been receiving some phone calls, I don't know if you guys have, especially for some reason it seems to be in the Wickliffe area. People leaving garbage cans at the road, people asking me, is there some sort of zoning ordinance that is attributed to garbage cans being left at the road? People seem to just want their garbage down, but don't bring the can. I said, I don't believe there's anything we can do, but
It's the strangest thing because I'm getting calls and it's not just Wickliffe. I had an elderly gentleman leave me a voicemail on Brockton there's 4 residents over there doing it. And it's like this new phenomenon, people, they've got these toters with wheels on them. You know, take them out, and then when trash is picked up, put them back, put it inside the house and back of the house. But people are starting to leave their trash cans. There's one over here on Northwest, just east of 46 on the south side. They're leaving their trash cans out by the curb 7 days a week. And it's unsightly, but, you know, be a good neighbor. If your neighbors don't want to look at your trash, just put it out the day before the garbage comes, and when the garbage comes, put it back, you know, at the side of the house and the back of the house. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of complaints about it too. As I tell people, there's roughly 13,500 homes in the township, and, you know, it gets to a point where it's things you just can't regulate, and we can't really regulate where people put trash cans. But common sense and just be a good neighbor. Why would you want your trash out at the curb 7 days a week? It's strange, and I used to get complaints in the past, but I get 3 or 4 complaints a year. I'm getting it every week, 3 or 4 complaints every week. And like I said, an elderly gentleman left me a voicemail on Brockton. And no, there's nothing in the zoning regulations that says where you have to store your trash cans, but it just seems like it would be common sense to just wheel that thing. It's on wheels. Most people have toters. They're on wheels. Just go pull it back. Put it inside the house and the back of your house. It's strange. I don't know why.
I take the trash out like at least every other night, and I'm just thinking, I'm lazy. I want to walk out the door, put it in the trash, I'll take it to the road once a week.
I know,
But not
Don't come to countryside.
a couple times a week.
We have 6 different companies picking up garbage, 6 different ones. You better not put your garbage out until it's at least 2 hours dark, and you better get it out and put it back in your house by 7 o'clock in the morning, or else your neighbors will come and take it from you. I mean, we really, it's unbelievable.
And that's really what it takes. You know, when you see your neighbor doing that, you know, you might want to just go knock on the door and say, hey, come on, this looks
All
bad.
right. Chief Cavalier, be prepared, because Trustee Carano, I think, just okayed the stealing of garbage cans throughout the township.
Oh, they bring them back.
All right, man, I felt I was correct in telling people there's not much we could do, but
Be a good neighbor.
be a good neighbor.
Right.
Thank you.
Want to send in Todd, please? I was gonna ask him about the skate zone.
Oh, we gotta talk
I'm
about
gonna
that.
talk about
That's, jeez.
Want me to call the roll on that?
I mean, this was a crazy week between the aggregate, that skating zone, and different things that are going on in the township, the phone calls, I cannot believe it. I mean, I understand it, and we welcome it, but the only thing is, people, I guess, we gotta talk to the vindicators. We gotta make sure those articles are absolutely precise so that people don't call us. Hey, Todd.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
Hey, how's the baby?
Oh, he's perfect.
Yeah, you wait till you get older, when he turns around and says, Grandpa, I love you. Then you gotta give him a house, a car.
Anything new?
We got the tennis nets up, pickleball nets are up, the basketball nets are up. So we're up and running, except for splash pad, of course. We've started working on the ball fields. We have Wedgewood Park, that playground is tore down. We're ready for construction. I talked to the foreman on Friday for the company, and we are scheduled for the first week of April. They said we should be done in three days, and Wedgewood Park playground will be up and running.
Beautiful.
Great.
Beautiful.
That's all I have.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to send Mr. Hemshaw?
Yes.
Ta-da!
Hemshaw, how are you?
Huh?
How are you?
I'm fine. I had my shot, I'm fine. I'm immune.
So far, right?
Are we completely immune, or is there a chance?
90-some%.
90-some percent?
Yeah.
Okay. I can breathe on people.
Anything new at senior center?
We're plugging away with the shots. This is a slow week, but they're out on the road a couple of days this week. They take the whole thing down like the Sebring and Beloit, the places far out so people have to travel up. They just have to site there real quick and then go from there.
Gotcha.
But theoretically, they're winding down. They're going to set, Wednesday, they're going to be at Dillard's. And that's their trial run. Yeah, that's going to be a mass inoculation site. Last I heard, it's only on weekends. Because they're scheduled, we have people scheduled at our site through the 20th of April for their second shots alone.
Do you know how many shots they're gonna be giving out on Wednesdays then?
1,500.
1,500.
They are something else.
That's a
You
machine.
go online, register for it, not a problem.
So theoretically, because of the situation of them opening up the major places that are going to happen, chances are that, my last word from them was that it looks like maybe at the end of April,
Yeah.
they'll be gone. But we have to remind the senior citizens, once again, that we cannot open it until, it's what, 1 week that it's under.
When they were there Friday, they were scheduling the first shot bunch for Moderna, and they were scheduling for the 20th of April for their second shot. And, but they know they're gonna be out of there by May 1st.
But the thing is, our set thing is to look and listen to the governor.
Yeah.
When we get into the yellow, out of the red, we're in the yellow, orange.
And that won't
And
be
it has
far.
to be for 1 week before we can open.
Well, right now, Mahoney County is at 101.5. 100 is orange. 199 is actually orange. And 50 is yellow. But right now, Mahoney County 104.5, Columbiana is at 101. Ashtabula just went orange last week. So they're getting that. But with the calls we get, a lot of people, you've got the same calls where they're saying, well, what we're doing is a good thing.
Good.
So it's good for the community to be able to do that. And it makes it easy. And like I said, the people are in and out in 30 minutes. It's the most efficient operation that I've ever seen.
Do we have a total of how many individuals went through there?
Actually, I don't know. I'll see Ryan tomorrow, I can ask him.
Yeah.
But I know the worst we had was they did 770 one day. We average about 500 a day.
And there's a lot of volunteers in there, right there.
Yeah,
Because
Well,
I mean, it's so
paramedics, people like
efficient. It's just unbelievable.
yeah. Most of them are
How about
paramedics.
the timer? You go and sit down, and the
Yeah.
guy says, okay, those of you who gave here this, out you go.
15 minutes, you're out.
All right.
That's about it.
Well, sounds good. But now, how much work will it be to transpose back into the full-time senior center?
Got to get all the tables set up and the chairs set up. And we want to scrub the road. I got a big commercial rug scrubber I bought just for that purpose. Because we were paying a fortune to get the rug scrub. And I said, for half of what I was paying for rug scrub, I got a commercial rug scrubber. It was a used one, but refurbished. And I only use it once a month, so. Take care of that.
Very good.
But that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dockery?
You fiscal?
I have nothing. One mention.
Back to the hat.
One mention I'll make is on the new business under A, even though Lori isn't here, the permanent appropriation, those are the numbers I went over with her, those are her numbers.
Motion to approve February report submitted to the board on March 8th, 2021 meeting. Fund status, revenue status, and appropriation status.
Mr. Granum?
So moved.
Second.
You guys are too slow. Mr. Granum?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Do you have something at home that you're getting?
Sun's shining out still, he wants to go. All right. New business. Motion to approve the 2021 permanent appropriation. That might pass on to us. renewal levies. Motion to proceed with the
No,
submission.
go ahead. We need a motion.
So moved for the permanent appropriation.
Second.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Abstain.
All right, new levies, renewal levies. One is the motion to proceed with the submission of the electors of the question of a levy, a 5.5 mil senior center renewal levy for 5 years at the general election to be held November 2nd, 2021. See the attached forms.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes. Second, motion to proceed with the submission of the electors of the question of levying a 1.5 mil road renewal levy for 5 years at the general election to be held on November 2nd, 2021.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, let's emphatically tell everybody that's watching our television, these are renewals.
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing new. Nothing new here. Under C, we got a motion to approve a lease purchase agreement with Financial National Bank Equipment Finance for the purchase of a 2020 Pierce Saber FR triple combination pumper truck with a term of 10 years and with an interest rate of 2.64.
If we could talk about this just a little bit before, and so everyone knows, this isn't something we just automatically done. We've been talking about this for almost 2 years.
Right.
And we have had set out the bids, we checked all the people, when we could get it, and what we needed it, and so on, and it took a long time, but we finally put in the bid. So I move that we approve the lease purchase agreement.
Second.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Just to comment on that, a couple meetings ago, you guys actually approved the purchase agreement of the truck.
Right.
At the insistence of the prosecutor's office, they also wanted the lease purchase agreement approved.
Gotcha. Yeah, Chief Frost did a great job, him and his crew did a great job finding, building that truck, just replica on what we already have, nothing, no other bells and whistles, but it's gonna be a great piece of machinery when it gets here. All right, back to order. Ohio Liquor Control Division, whether to request a hearing on notice of legislative authority, a new permit to 76 Hospitality LLC DBA Son of Italy, 2888, 5335, 76 Drive, Unit 2, Austintown Township, Youngstown, Ohio, 44515. Permit number 8003720. Permit class ESD3A. Chief, any?
And what they're doing, they already have a liquor license down there, but the D3A will give them the right to sell liquor till 2:30. 76 next to them has that liquor permit, and the Sons of Italy that are requesting it have all liquor permits other than they cannot sell liquor till 2:30. So this is what they're requesting. I have no objections.
Are there any problems with the 230 that we've had with the other people who have had them?
You know, ever since the Sons of Italy opened up down there, I can't remember having any problems down there.
You.
Okay, so moved.
And seconded?
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes. All right, at this point in the meeting, we're gonna have public response. You can either be on camera or off camera. Just state your name, Dave.
David Ewing, Commander, Post 301, Austintown, American Legion. I just came tonight, I got a couple things. I want to update you on the banner program. Since we spoke last time, thanks to the Vindicator getting it out, the word of mouth getting it out, right now I have 42 banners ordered. I'm still taking orders. I know Mr. Davis talked to me earlier about his, so the sooner as they come in, I'm gonna start hanging them, so that way they'll be done. Also, I've had a lot of veterans organizations contacting me, asking about the Memorial Day Parade. Are we gonna have one this year or not?
That's up to the American Legion.
Okay.
Yeah, well, actually, I would say, well, it's up to the governor. I mean, we,
I know he's opening the fairs back up limited and everything.
there's, and this is just, once again, I hate to say this because it's a stipulation, I'm gonna talk about this in my comments about the 4th of July. So, the issue with parades and events, the person putting on the parade, it's not the people attending the parade that are responsible for social distancing
Right.
guidelines and everything else. If the American Legion is who normally puts on the parade, it is your responsibility to provide the guidance that everything is followed. That's the boat that we're in as far as the 4th of July parade coming up.
Not just the guidance,
It's,
and
yes.
materials.
You have to ensure it, not, and does that include, as of right now, just from what I'm trying to read through, I mean, you've got to provide so many hand sanitizing stations and all this other stuff, ensure that everybody's gonna be wearing their mask if they're within a certain distance. And we just don't have the police capacity to be able to do that. We're not a major city, like New York or Chicago that has just an overabundance of police. So, we're like this and waiting.
Right.
That was our main concern, one of our concerns for this week.
But if he does open it up a little bit more, we, as American Legion, do everything that we can do, with the township.
You guys are very efficient. The fact of the matter is, there are certain things you can do even if we can't do the other thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna stop having people out there, which would be impossible, I think.
Right. Okay. That's it. Yeah, like I said, I wanted to give you the update on banner program.
I gotta say a good thing for you too. You sent the material that was needed for the electric company, wanted to know what was going on and so on to give their okay. We did find out that many of the poles belong to the phone company and not to this.
Yeah.
But you are very efficient in taking care of the situation. So good. I congratulate both of you.
Yeah, once again, if I can reiterate real fast, it's just congratulations. I mean, 42 banners, that's excellent. I tell everybody, you enlist in the military, and I was fortunate that I didn't have to serve. And I don't want to say that I was fortunate that I didn't have to. I worked in law enforcement, but when you enlisted, I don't know what a mindset of somebody that enlists is. But to think that you know what you're going into, but once you do it, you think, well, man, maybe I can make a career out of it or whatever. But I'm not sure that you think about what you do afterwards. And what I have found, and I'm just amazed by with veterans, is that you don't stop when you retire after 20, 25, 30 years or whatever. The veterans in this community just continue and continue and continue to give and give and give. And just to see the flags on the, when you go over the overpass, on the bridges, to what you guys do, once again, the Memorial Day Parade and the ceremony at the high school, to our 4th of July, it's just, the veteran, I'm so amazed by the effort that you guys give after the fact. So, thank you guys for doing what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? Eric? We'll move on to remarks to the board. Jim, since you're off, you want to go first?
Sure. So I quickly want to talk, Mike didn't talk about it, but anybody that hasn't seen already, we have began street sweeping. I've seen the street sweeper out, and I've already got a couple phone calls from people that were excited to know, wow, this is great. You guys were in my neighborhood first. And so I just told them, that's good, don't get too excited because next year you'll be last. Anybody that doesn't know how our street sweeping program works, and just so anybody that is wondering since the street sweeper is out, is that the township's broken into 4 quadrants, A, B, C, and D. If you're letter A, and I don't know what we started with, but if we do the northeast corner of the township, move to the northwest, southwest, southeast. If you're in the southeast and you were last, which means you'll probably be done, a little bit later, closer to summertime, you'll be first next year. So we just rotate it in a rotation to keep everybody kind of play fair. So every 4 years, you're first on the list. So if you see the street sweeper out and you're wondering why they haven't been to your neighborhood, that's why. It was good to see them out, and this light winter has really helped with us being able to get out. 4th of July, so we just talked about the Memorial Day Parade, and I just want to kind of update that. Believe me, folks, I'm not Bruce Olden, so I'm not the firework king, but I love fireworks just as much as everybody else. And I am going to do everything in my power to make sure we have fireworks in this community this year. If that means we're sitting in our car watching fireworks, then that's what we'll do. We'll work something out. We're going to get through that. But the 4th of July parade, for those of you that didn't hear, the problem with parades and the person that puts on the parade, which the township is who puts on that parade, we are responsible for ensuring the safety and guidelines of following the governor's orders of that stay safe, stay home order. So following those health orders, we've got to be able to ensure that everybody stays a safe distance. I'm sure there will be guidelines of no throwing candy because you can't touch the candy that's being thrown to the kids and things of that sort. So we've got to kind of work through these things. Please know, folks, we don't want to cancel them. Those are as important to us, and I just love doing it because I do it with my daughter when it comes to the 4th of July parade. Those are just important to me as being here on a Monday night. Really enjoy it. I know what it means to you because it means just as much to me, and I know it does to these guys too. So please understand, we're working on it. I just saw Chris Higbee. He played at the St. Patrick's Day event. It was a huge success. Other than they got a ticket over there for being a little crowded. But Chris is excited. He's ready to go, and we talked about some ways that we can get him to play safely for the community. So we're trying to work through these things. So everybody keeps calling and asking us. As soon as we know that there's going to be a parade or we get some guidelines to help further our decision making, we will relay it to you, and we will get the information out as to how you can be a part of it. One of the last things I want to talk about is people, I think, give us a lot of credit for things that we cannot do. I think you want to give us too much power, maybe. So one of the first things they teach you in politics is don't read the comments on social media. However, I read the comments. Whether the Vindicator reports it or whether the local news reports it, you don't get the whole story. And I don't say that in a bad way. You only have so much paper you can print on. So you've got to tell your story in a condensed fashion. The news only gives you 30 seconds to a minute. There's only so much you can tell. The skate zone closed. Okay, and I understand that the skate zone closed. I went there when I was in middle school, high school. I enjoyed going to the skate zone when I was in school. I get it, I was a kid. I used to get dropped off there on a Friday night and go skating. I took my daughter there. My daughter's 11. She still has gone up until just maybe a year and a half ago, right before COVID started. So everybody seems to think that the Board of Trustees in Austintown has just wanted to move a car wash in there, and we just closed down the skate zone. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about what we can and cannot do, and kind of how this comes about. So the skate zone, and I'm going to use the skate zone because this is the latest story. The skate zone was put up for sale. Now it was put up for sale for roughly about $950,000. And so it was put up for sale, and anybody could have purchased it. It was up for sale. If you wanted to spend the money to buy it, keep it open as a skate zone and a laser tag and a putt-putt course, you could have done it. Anybody was welcome to. Number one, the township, we cannot expend township funds to purchase that building and keep it open as the skate zone. We are not in the government business to run a retail business. Much like, unfortunately, Payless Shoe Store closed. We can't open a shoe store with your taxpayer dollars. We cannot do that. Do we want to see businesses closed? Absolutely not. We want to keep as much business here in this community. We've got a great zoning board of appeals who is very, very lenient to, they will work with you as much as they can. They put regulations in place, and they work as much as they can to make sure that businesses are able to move in this community. We were just notified by the regional chamber. They have a request for proposal for different places that want to come to this area. Do we know of any places in Austintown? Our wheels start spinning, we start calling our zoning inspector, we start trying to get all the information we can to the regional chamber to get business to come here. But once again, I go back, is that we can't keep the skate zone open. Believe me, when I heard the skate zone was up for sale, the first thing I said was, I want to get blamed for closing this too. And sure enough, that's what happened, is that the board was being accused of closing the skate zone. I don't want to say we don't want a car wash. We have car washes here. Do we need another one? Apparently someone thinks they're going to make money at it, so maybe we do need another car wash. I don't know. But the skate zone closed. Why did the skate zone close? Number one, the guy opened the business in 1994, okay? He's ready to retire. He wants to retire. He put the business up for sale, and does he want to, I guess my question would be to you, the public, and the people that get on the internet and type is, if you owned the skate zone and you had owned it for 30 years, and you felt that it was your time to retire, ride off into the sunset, spend your money, and you put it up for sale, and I don't say the Board of Trustees because we didn't make the decision. The zoning board actually was the one that made the decision to allow the car lot to come in. But if our zoning board, or even let's say that we had the authority to say, no, we don't want another car wash, or no, we don't want another Dunkin' Donuts, or no, we don't want another Dollar General, and we folded that plan to put something else in there, and you own that business, that gentleman who owned that business for over 25 years, who put it up for sale, and by the way, got his asking price, okay? But we told you no, we don't want another Dollar General, another Dunkin' Donuts, or anything to go in there. Would you, as that property owner, be, pardon my language, pissed? You'd be very upset if we told you no, because we didn't feel that that's not the business we want. That's your property. It's called free enterprise. Any business can move into a community as long as they follow the zoning guidelines that are put in place, and as long as they meet those guidelines, they're welcome to open business here. And we can't hold an owner of a business hostage, per se, to kind of force him to stay open by not allowing him to sell. So once again, folks, as much as I would hate to see it close, it's just that guy's time to retire. He wants to retire and spend time with his family and travel and visit other parts of the country. And my wish for him is that he enjoys retirement, because he's a great guy. It's been a great business. It's going to be sad to see it go. But what I will tell you is that when I heard it was closing, I contacted 3 people that are in the entertainment business that own those types of facilities, whether it's a trampoline park or whatever, and unfortunately we couldn't get anybody interested in opening a roller skating rink. However, what I will tell you is if a roller skating rink is a lucrative business, believe me when I tell you, somebody else will find property in this community and they'll build another one if it was as lucrative as everybody thinks it is. So please, folks. The last thing I want to talk about is a gentleman spoke off camera, and I addressed some comments, and I want to make sure that we reiterate this. There were some reports in the local newspaper about the township receiving $6 to $7.5 million approximately. Right now, folks, that is just speculative. Tim Ryan mentioned in that, it was talked about in that article, that the townships would be receiving this money. Right now, there were some changes from the House to the Senate in the wording, where in one vote it said it allocated money to townships, in the other it said local governments. So the wording change has left that up in arms whether or not we would receive that money. So as of right now, just so we're clear, is that the township is not receiving that money. Until we hear, we are believe me, we are anticipating hearing good news. We want to hear the good news. We're as excited as you are about that, because that means different projects we can do, whether it's more street paving, more demolitions, whatever the board discusses and we're able to come up with, great. Mike mentioned off camera that that money needed to be spent by 2024. We're going to have ample time to plan out over time how to spend that money. It's not going to be a hurry up and rush and let's just throw money out the window because we've got to spend it. It's going to be a well thought out process by this board to discuss how to spend that money. People have commented about paving. One of the things that we have done, and I talked about this with our county engineer and how it's worked so well in our community, and we talked with some other townships, is that Austintown, Boardman, and Canfield at a time were always bidding projects together. Why? We bid out $1.4 million in paving. The city of Youngstown bid out $1.8 million in paving, and we actually got a better price because the community, or the pavers, normally they would know, well, if I don't get Austintown, maybe I'll get Boardman. Maybe if I don't get Boardman, I'll get Canfield. At least I'll get a slice of the pie. Well, what was great for us was that A, B, and C, Austintown, Boardman, and Canfield worked together. We got a better rate. Why? Because they knew if they didn't get the whole pie, they weren't getting any. They weren't going to be able to come to our community and just pave our streets and then, well, I didn't get Boardman this year. No. We got some really great bids. Our pricing came in below Youngstown, who was spending more money than what we were. So it was a huge benefit to us. Those are the types of things that we will look at, especially with the other communities. The talks have already started. I know that my colleagues have talked to the other communities about joint projects that we could do together if they get that money as well, because they're just as, once again, we don't know if we're getting that money. We got to wait till somebody figures out that wording, whether or not it means townships, if local governments means townships. That's what we're waiting to hear, and we're keeping our fingers crossed. So please, folks, understand, we want you to know, I know we're asking you to pass levies, and the last thing we want people to think is that we're getting this huge influx of money and that you shouldn't pass the senior levy renewal, or you shouldn't pass a road levy because of us getting a huge influx of money that we are still unsure about. So please, make sure you consider those renewals, because we're waiting to hear.
Thanks, Jim.
It took my couple minutes that I didn't use the past couple months.
Okay, I just want to continue what Jim said. Being a former state rep and so on, I deal with this all the time. I used to deal with this, and it just irritates me beyond belief that organizations that represent townships, both at the state level and the federal level, did not read the bill that was passed. When a bill goes to be passed, it starts off either in the House or the Senate. When they're finished, it goes to the other side. The Senate will look at it, they'll send it back to the House, and if they agree on everything, they pass it. Well, somehow during the transfer, they didn't put the correct wording in. People don't understand it. The problem is that every state has different names for things. All states don't have townships per se. But the fact of the matter is, we got that notice about the money, then all of a sudden it's questionable. To their credit, Sherrod Brown, Tim Ryan, Joyce Beatty, and Mary Cooper sent a letter to the person right now who has that responsibility. And that responsibility is Janet Yellen, who is our Secretary to Treasurer, for her interpretation of what it was done. Then if there's any fight, there's still going to be a fight, so we won't know for a while whether or not we have that money. But what irritates me is when people are supposed to be representing us, we listen and we look at everything that comes to this office for the people of Austintown. And if we don't understand something, we learn about it. For our organizations that we are members of, for letting it go, that this bill accidentally, supposedly, got involved without taking the name townships in it, shame on them. They didn't do their work. But let's hope that the people who passed the motion will correct the situation and come up with the right interpretation. That's number one. This has been a week. Jim said we all got called about the skating rink, we got called about everything else. The biggest calls I got, number one, is the aggregate. Ladies and gentlemen, let you understand this. And Mike, will you help me with this? We created a few years back an aggregate. That means a group of people, they could get a group of people together with a different company who will give us a good deal on either electric or gas. Well, electric's on now. And now our people are going out, they're really knocking on doors. But there's a million other people who are sending you letters, who are knocking on your door. Sometimes we stop them, sometimes we can't, because they have the right, if they register with us, to go knock on doors. The whole idea is for you, as residents of Austintown, to belong to this aggregate that simply gets together and they bid on the electric bill. The problem this year was very simple. You read it in the paper, and then somebody was complaining, and then it got caught in there, that our bill, our aggregate is going to pay $4.99.
Correct.
It's going to pay $4.99 a system. And they said, wait a minute. It said that the regular thing is $4.68. They were saying what it was, not what it's going to be. The projected number of that is in the $5 and what? Is it $5.23?
$5.53. The price to compare is up to $5.53.
$5.53. So the idea was, you know, watch what you're looking at. It's a difficult situation, and especially for people who don't deal with this. Many people stick with the electric company because they don't want to have to deal with this. But we're getting letters condemning us because we're doing certain things. The name of our company is this.
Energy Harbor.
Energy Harbor. If Energy Harbor knocks on your door and that sort of thing, they're going to give you the best deal. And it's there for 4 years. But the best part about joining an aggregate is if you decide you want out, all you have to do is make a phone call and you're out. And you can go to somebody else. But the idea is that make sure you know this. Don't condemn us for trying to help the people of Austintown to save a buck. The idea is there. But we're getting calls like crazy because now I don't mind calls. Calls are why we got elected. I promised my wife I'd answer every phone call, and I do. But if you're not sure about it, call us so we can explain it to you. We can try to explain it to you. Unfortunately, a lot of you don't see the television and so on. We can explain it to you. But don't send us an email condemning us, you know, and then when we write you back, you don't give us a telephone number so we can call you. The idea is to know what you're doing before you do it. We're not going to do something to shaft you, only to help you.
Ken, if I may, real quick, because it was reported on a local radio station that their bill was currently $4.81 and our aggregate price is going up to $4.99.
Yes.
What people were not looking at is the $4.81 was the starting price and did not include the taxes, fees, everything else, which was over $5.13, I believe. Whereas the $4.99 is what it is including all those fees. So right now you're actually paying $5.13. It's going down to $4.99 including all those fees, so it's going to be less. And the other thing that what people don't realize, because I had this conversation and somebody asked me, why would you make this decision to get us into the aggregate? That decision was never made by the Board of Trustees. That was made by the electorate of Austintown. Austintown as a community voted to join an aggregate and create an aggregate. That was not something that the Board of Trustees, even prior to any of us being here, did. That was something done by, that was something done that was voted by the Austintown residents, that they wanted to be able to be in an aggregate to get a better deal. So it was on the ballot.
So many aggregates are out, they're out there to make money for themselves, no question about it. 36 people called me. Most of them were senior citizens or people who wanted to get exact information, and I applaud them like crazy, because you could tell them specifically the answers to their questions. So don't be afraid to call the township hall or to call us about it. But the fact of the matter is, don't interpret it yourself if you don't know what you're doing, okay? Don't interpret that. It's not an easy task, because everybody and their brother is trying to get you to line up with them. Okay, that's that's one of the things that we're talking about. We are so happy about the military banner. I do have I want to say that Zane is here as we are connected with the Austintown Fitch High School's media, no, what is it? Falcon Media. Okay, it used to be our channel 9, then it was channel 19, then it was 202 and so on, but it's a television station here. It is a combination of the high school and the township together. And what we do is put these things on. The media station has gotten so powerful. Now, what did you just have this last weekend?
Fitch held its first live concert in over a year. It was the Concert Choir's Cabaret, and we live streamed it on YouTube, and it currently has over 1,200 views.
And the practice with this is one of the many opportunities that people in Austintown are going to have, possibly with the football games and a few of the others. Right now, we do it especially for away games, but the thing is that there's so many things that are offered there. So be prepared for whatever the situation is. Now, one of the things I deal with, because I am theoretically the chairman of the board, because I helped start the thing way back when I was a teacher at Fitch High School. We are going to start doing shows, we're doing Who's New again. That means that organizations that would like to come on and to talk about what they have and what they're going to do, certainly are invited. All you have to do is call me and we'll arrange something that we can get there. But I want to get a lot of the organizations, because we're having a very tragic time. Organizations in Austintown are so powerful, but what happens is people get old, but the young people are not coming in. And what we do want to let everyone know that these organizations are such supporters of our township and the opportunities for students, for babies, for everybody to do that. So we're going to do that. We're also going to have a whole system of, because this is a veterans town, we will have a veterans show. We will certainly be talking to each of them. And those people who would like to be on the show or something, or you have suggestions for us, please call the studio or call me, leave messages or whatever. But we're going to be starting that very soon, because now we are now allowed to actually go in and start doing shows. Happy spring to everybody. It's really nice to go outside at 65 degrees. A little bit more would be even better for me. You know what? I never was cold because I was always so big. When I lost all that weight, now I freeze and I want more heat. The other thing is this. Mahoney County is 175 years old this year. Austintown started in 1798, and we were members of Trumbull County. Mahoney County didn't exist. When Trumbull County got so big that they finally decided they had to do this, they made Mahoney County. And the best part about it is Austintown was fought over like crazy because we are right next to Trumbull County. So it went on for a few years before we were absolutely determined that we were in Mahoney County. And Mahoney County fought with each other because Canfield wanted to be the head of Mahoney County and then back and forth. But 175 years, congratulations, and thank you to the county commissioners for looking over and taking care of Austintown also. Let me make sure I got everything down pat, because I hate when I go home. And that's it, Mr. Chairman.
All right, very good. Mine's gonna be short and sweet. I just want to congratulate Keith Smith again, our officer that retired after 34 years of serving Austintown community. Congratulations to Blake Davis, who's basically filling his shoes for his, starting his career here in Austintown and serving the Austintown community. Excuse me. Last week was the state finals for wrestling. Colin Roberts took third place in that. Congratulations to him. He had 4 years of a very successful wrestling career. The boys baseball, girls softball, and the track should be starting up this week as well. I know the girls softball will be starting out around 11:30 behind the stadium. They put a new field there on the turf. They made a diamond legacy for all the Fish Falcons that passed. They graduated, and they're going to be coming back to celebrate that opening day with them. The game starts at 1 o'clock. I believe there's going to be like a food vendor. I don't know if you guys are going to be showing that or not on the Falcon media. So I know they're trying to make it as big as possible for the girls starting off their career. So that's about all I got. And thank you to the commissioners again for assisting us with the fire department. I think that's a huge piece for us. And pat on the back for Jim for working that deal.
Absolutely, Jim.
Yeah,
I'm not afraid to ask for money.
that's right. All right.
I'm certainly not afraid to ask for money.
Only thing you did is get turned down, right, Jim?
That's right.
Motion to recess to executive session for the following. Consider appointment, employment, discipline, and comprehensive of public employees. B, to prepare for conducting and reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions for public employees concerning their comprehension or other terms of conditions of their employment.
So moved.
And seconded?
Mr. Crano?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
In association with Austintown Local Schools and Austintown Township.